Oh, that's it. Good evening, everybody. I'll call the meeting of the Porterville City Planning Commission meeting of April 8th, 2026 to order. Thank you all for coming. Hope you can hear. I'd like to make sure that everybody can hear clearly and that it's recorded clearly. Are we working with YouTube and the voice today? Good, thank you. I'll call the meeting to order and we'll have a pledge of allegiance. Commissioner.
All rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Opening prayer by Commissioner Leonard.
Our Heavenly Father, we're thankful for this opportunity to meet together as a planning commission for Tocqueville City. We thank you for the blessing of being members of this great community and for the good people that live in this town. We pray, Father, that we can be guided and directed to make good decisions this evening and going forward, that we might be able to create a great environment for families and individuals here in Tocqueville. We thank thee for the blessings and bounties of this land, and we pray that thou would continue to watch over it and all those who live and visit here. And we pray for these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Now we'll have some time for statement of belief. If somebody wants to get up and provide a statement of their belief or their prayer. Appreciate it. Thank you. Disclosures and declarations of conflicts from any commissioner meetings tonight on anything that's on the agenda. I'll say they have no conflicts. Okay. Item B, approval of the agenda order. I have a statement to make, and it's not going to make everybody happy. And staff knows this because I already let staff know it. I have a real problem on the agenda items of number 2's on there, but number 3 and number 4 agenda item. If you look at the agenda and you look at the discussions, it looks like, or it perceives to look like, that we've already approved number 2. And I have a real problem with that. This is an annexation procedure. It's going to take some real time and consideration to go through. It should, because of the effect it has on the city and on everybody else. But just the conclusion that we've already got 3 and 4 on there talking on density sizes and everything else of a pre-annex agreement. I have a real problem with that. But I'm going to open it up to the planning commissioners to approve the agenda, how they feel fit.
I'll chime in, and I just want to say I would suggest consolidating deliberation on items 2 and 3, so the pre-annexation agreement and the development agreement. We had to notice them as 2 separate items, but they're one and the same. So if you look closely, you notice that Exhibit B to the pre-annexation agreement is the development agreement. So just to make it less confusing, I'd suggest deliberating on both at the same time and then voting on them separately.
But let me ask you this, if the item 2 doesn't pass, then we don't even need to go to 3 and 4.
So you can't, so item 2 and 3 are tied together. We had to notice them separately. I know that's
I
a
understand.
little confusing, but item 3 is essentially part of item 2, but you are right. So in terms of the ordinance though, I mean, Solara brought up the idea of exempting developments that fall under this particular provision of LEDMA. So I would still suggest deliberating on that ordinance regardless of how you decide on 2 and 3. Does that make sense? And we can talk about that a lot more.
So can we amend the agenda later in the meeting as soon as
No.
if we have
We
an
have to do it
issue?
now.
We need to do it now. If it's amended, then we don't talk about it. If it's not, then it's there. And if it doesn't happen or something, then you don't have to take any action on the next agenda item,
Okay.
or you can bring it up and things like that. It's all.
Yeah, I have a question about number 2. Why is it called pre-annexation agreement? Is it, I mean, what's the difference
So-
between that and just the annexation agreement?
Yeah, some of these questions I think would be better to discuss during the discussion portion, but I mean, it's a fair question. So it's a type of agreement allowed under LEDMA that's fairly common in Utah, in which cities and property owners can basically set the rules prior to property annexing into the city. So it doesn't, if this pre-annexation agreement is approved, it sets the tone or the rules for if they were to later annex into the city, but it doesn't actually annex them.
Okay, got it.
Okay.
And we'll talk
But
about that more. in
I
detail.
agree
It's a
with
good question.
Dean. We haven't even really discussed any annexation rules yet. This is completely like, just,
Mhm.
you know,
Right.
we haven't even had the opportunity to discuss that at all.
Yeah. So we did have a discussion about Solara several months back. So in terms of the terms and what you're going to see in front of you, essentially it's what they had proposed to the county that they brought here. Does that make
Okay, but
sense?
But it never
if I
got,
remember correctly, when we discussed it before, we didn't discuss any details or particulars for annexation. We were told that we would get the opportunity to do that in the future.
Okay.
Am I correct?
Do you want to chime in?
Yeah, if I were to
Ben?
speak to that, I would suggest that that's why it's in front of you this evening is to,
Okay.
is as the first step in that,
Okay,
in the process.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
there's
It
some-
happens in open, we like to do it in open meeting that's required by Open and Public Meetings Act, and we deliberate in public. And so this is essentially just a draft for consideration.
It is a draft. I want you guys to know it's not like it's a done deal. This is obviously your decision. It's a draft. So
by the way, where's Emily tonight? I kind of miss her.
But this is a recommendation to city council, correct? So
you can make a recommendation. You don't have to. You can table it. You
Okay.
can do whatever you want with it.
but if we vote on something, it's still only a recommendation to city
Yes,
council?
it's only a recommendation. It has to go to council. That's right.
Right.
everything is just a vote. and
Okay.
Yeah, everything's a recommendation.
Let me bring up one other point. I believe you were contacted by email or by the developer.
Correct.
And some of the others, and I have a real problem with that.
Yeah, we all got
Going
contacted.
around and contacting the planning commissioners individually. That's just like polling and everything else. And I'm sorry, but that is a big problem. And when that came out to my attention, I responded, get a hold of city staff, go through the proper channels.
Well, that's why we all know after that conversation that we had, that if anybody was to contact us individually regarding any sort of planning or zoning, that we refer them back to the city, to Emily or anybody in the city, that everything goes through its correct process. And we do not respond with anything other than that.
Yeah.
Okay, I will reconsider a motion for the agenda, approve the agenda is in the order that is in front of me.
I
I
move that
second
we
it.
approve
Oh,
the
sorry.
agenda.
Do you guys want to consolidate the deliberation on the
Oh.
pre-annexation and
Yeah,
development
let's do
agreement? That doesn't, you'd still
Makes
vote on
sense.
them separately if you made a recommendation tonight. But you would, so the motion would say something like, make a motion to consolidate deliberation, provided that we will still vote on these items separately if a vote is to be
So that's 2 and 3.
2 and 3.
2 and 3.
But I
move that we-
think it should be the pre-annexation agreement and not development agreement. That pre-annexation is the key word on what we're discussing tonight.
That's what was noticed as the pre-annexation. It is not a petition for annexation. That is not on the agenda.
Okay.
Okay, yeah.
And they would have to submit a petition for annexation to be annexed.
Okay.
So I move that we adopt this agenda and consolidating items 2 and 3 as one discussion item.
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Nay?
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. Okay, we'll go down to item number C, consent agenda. Review the possible approval of the meeting minutes from March 11th, 2026, Planning Commission meeting. Has everybody had a chance to review those, go over them? Any corrections, deletions? We have a motion to accept them as posted.
I move that we accept as posted the minutes from the March 11th, 2026 Planning Commission meeting.
I second it.
And a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
I abstain as I was not here in the last meeting.
Aye.
Aye.
Item number D, business. 1, discussion possible recommendation as the Hillside Review Board as on a hillside development permit submitted by Firelight Development for the Sun River at Firelight Phase 8 through 16.
So Chairman, the applicant has to have this item tabled as the attorneys and the engineering, we need a few more documents
Okay.
after reviewing the application.
Do we have a motion so set?
I motion that we table it based on what Mr. LaFever just described.
I second.
Second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries to table that. Thank you. Item D, business 2, discussion and possible recommendation on a pre-annexation agreement between Torkerville City and Solara Communities, LLC for tax ID 3151-A-1-HV, a 200-acre property currently located in an unincorporated Washington County, Utah, proposed for residential and commercial development. So that's the first part, and the second part is the public hearing. Can we talk about the first part and you explain everything to us before we go to the
Yeah,
public hearing?
sure, we can do that.
Okay.
Okay, so where to start? So what's in front of you tonight is a
Ask you
pre-annexation
to speak
agreement.
up and stay close.
Yeah, sure.
I'm hard of hearing, I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. I appreciate it. Sometimes I don't realize if I'm like kind of whispering, so I appreciate it. So what's before you tonight is a pre-annexation agreement. As I described this, if you recommended approval, would not annex the property into Tokerville. This is a type of agreement that's allowed under Utah law, in which a developer or property owner can basically see if they can come to an agreement as far as what the rules would be if they were to be annexed. A key part of ensuring that all the rules would be set forth would be to spell out the terms in a development agreement. So that's why an exhibit to the pre-annexation agreement, the meat of the pre-annexation agreement really is the development agreement. So you have both before you tonight. Let me scroll down to the development agreement. So essentially what they're looking for is up to 1,500 units, an average density of 7.5 units per acre. Among other things, they're looking to have up to 200 short-term rentals.
200?
200, yep. And as it's currently drafted, they would be grouped in clusters of 50. So the things to keep in mind when you're looking at this development agreement is essentially if you decide that these rules worked, if you like these rules, then you'd be creating a new zone, which you can do under Utah law. So you want to look at this really carefully because you want to make sure you have all the information you'd want in terms of, what would you require for a zone. You want to make sure that you're okay with everything that you're permitting in this zone, right? So the terms of this development agreement spell out the zone you're creating. That's what it is. Ben mentioned that the developer may have a presentation. If we want to allow that.
Yeah, if desired. They're prepared to kind of present the high-level overview of the project.
Okay, who is the developer? Okay. Then please stand up, yeah.
I have a question. Do you have any other developments in southern Utah currently at this time?
Not in southern Utah.
Where is your closest development?
The closest one would be Green River, Utah, which is an industrial development, so it's not residential.
Okay, do you have residential developments similar to this anywhere else in the country?
No, but the builder, so let me maybe explain just a little bit, and we'll go through this maybe in more detail here. We're the developer, so we will develop finished lots. And the builder who has already signed on to the project is the same builder that has projects here in southern Utah, D.R. Horton, if you're familiar with them. I think there may be a tour scheduled later this month for the commission to go visit and see what's being built at Long Valley. if you're
Long
familiar
Valley,
with that.
correct. Okay.
Yep. Okay, let's see.
So can you explain, are you an investor or are you a developer?
So initially, and then we'll address that, we'll kind of introduce who we are, how we got involved, and kind of where we came from, kind of those things.
Okay.
This is an image taken directly from the property, kind of up above on the elevation. So I'll show you where the property is here. So there's site 15, as you can see there. And right there in the middle looks kind of like the state of Nevada with a little thumbtack. That's the 200 acres. And it's almost exactly in between Anderson Junction and the North Leeds Interchange. So it's on basically the west side of I-15. And that's unincorporated. It's actually in the county. And this location was actually something that we were a lender initially for another developer. So we lent them the money to purchase this property, and they were to develop it over time and basically take us out of that process. That didn't happen, and we ended up with the property as collateral for that loan. So
Okay.
we ended up with this property and made a decision as a company, and I'm the president and CEO of a company called Blue Castle Holdings. Blue Castle has several subsidiaries that do multiple things like lending, the development work and the industrial site that we talked about earlier. And we made the decision after we went through the foreclosure on that property to develop it instead of just try to resell it. There was a lot of money that was lent out, and we felt like it was better to recover that through the development process, although that meant that we were going to be in that piece of property now for probably a decade. So now we're 3 years basically into this. We foreclosed on it in March of 2023 and started going through the process. And at the time, Toquerville Cities, when we talked to Toquerville and Leeds about annexing in, both of those discussions didn't go very far. So we went to the county, and the county started working through us with the entitlement process. And as you can see, last October or so, when we were getting our water development agreement finalized at the board hearing at the Water Conservancy District, the elected officials, some of the elected officials of Toquerville asked the board to ask us to re-look at becoming, being brought in and annexed into the city. So we'd already been 2 years down the road with the county and the development process. And so that's why we're here today. It was actually at the request of the elected officials for Toquerville, the former mayor and some other city council members. Ben contacted us, and we kind of got together, had discussions, and then Ben came to the Water Conservancy District Board meeting when the board approved the water development agreement, but then said, instead of the Water Conservancy District providing the retail water service, which it would in the county jurisdiction, they asked us to go to Toquerville and see if Toquerville would actually be interested in providing that water service and other services. And at the time, the few years previous to that, we thought eventually it's going to be in some city somewhere, right? It's a piece of property that actually I think overlaps both cities' annexation plans. They both want to, or have looked at it, whether they want to or not, it's part of the plan. But at the time, they didn't have the ability to annex it in. So we started working with the county. And up to this point, we actually have gotten approvals to build from the county. The water's approved. We actually have a PID from the county. So we're very far down the road, but we felt that it was a good idea and do believe that at some point it really belongs in a city, right? There's kind of some differences in that process, and we'll kind of hit a few of those here. But we want to make sure that we give the city the opportunity to understand everything about the development, why we're here, what we're doing. I think now you understand a little bit more. It's not like we just showed up, a few weeks ago. We've been working on the project now for 3 years, getting it ready, getting approvals, and actually have approvals to actually construct things now with a financing mechanism in a PID to build the infrastructure. And
So let me ask you real quick, and I'm just going to make a comment. So prior city officials come to you and ask you to come without going through the proper channels and procedures, and then you met with Ben, and Ben went and supported you without going through the proper channels
Let
too?
me clarify a little bit. The elected officials talked to Ben and the board members of the Water Conservancy District. I have yet to meet with any, or at that time hadn't met with any elected officials at that time. And they went to the board through the discussions, and Ben could probably describe more about how that process worked, about that annexation. So at that time, that was news to us, and a little bit of a surprise at the
News
meeting.
to us too.
Yeah, we had a few days' notice before the Water Conservancy District Board meeting. I can't remember exactly, but it was days, not, some longer time frame. And actually, in the board meeting, they had to amend our agreement to accommodate the request on the fly because it wasn't anticipated. We were a little kind of like, all right, we can do this, because we do feel like, one, we've done everything that we need to do above board, all the public meetings, all the investment, everything that we've done, we've reached out, and we have reached out previously to both cities before going to the county. So again, it's being more thorough, we think, is being better neighbors. I was a former elected official. I served in the state legislature, so I understand. Kind of get surprised with stuff, or you don't know what's going on. You'd rather have somebody come talk to you, share information, educate you, so you then can make a good decision and fulfill your role as either an elected official or appointed official. So,
Okay, let me make one more. So when I was briefed about this about 3 days ago from staff, they had told me that Washington County told you guys that you had to come to one of the two cities and be turned down before Washington County would serve you.
that was correct. That's the change that was made at the board meeting at the time when so they approved our development agreement. We received enough water for the first 75 that were already approved at the county. And then to get the remaining water supply for this 1,300 and some odd units, they said if Tokerville doesn't want to serve the water supply, serve the development, then we could come back and incorporate that into the already approved development agreement. The board, which has several elected officials, mayors, city council members on there, felt like they wanted to do everything that, as Tokerville is a compact member to the Water Conservancy District, they wanted to give Tokerville the opportunity to serve that water because there's fees associated with it, it's revenue for the city, and it gives them infrastructure to help support maybe other growth that takes place that eventually will be there. And it's on the border of Tokerville, the project. If you look, that's the city boundary right there. Leeds does not have its own water service, so Leeds is not an option for us. And they're not part of the compact.
Might I
This whole
inquire,
water thing,
there's-
I have a
there's
question.
An allegation of impropriety made. I think I would like to open that conversation up, implying that there was some sort of inappropriate action taken. I think it's important that, as that was made on the record, that we clarify what sort of allegation was there.
Well, I just, not any allegations, but apparently this has been going on a while, and then it gets in front of us. And I remember 2-3 months ago, it was going to be on the agenda, and then you said, no, it's not on the agenda. And you just said, you're working with somebody to come in with a pre-annex X meeting on that.
Precisely.
And so I'm just clarifying, because I don't want to see any more backdoor deals that has happened here before in years past. And your job is to work with economic development and everything else, and I see that completely, and I understand that. And if I offended you, I apologize. I did not mean to offend you. I just wanted to know the history. And then the other thing, I apologize to you. We always start out, when you start out, is to tell us your name and your address. Where you live.
Yeah.
Yes. Aaron Tilton, and I live in Murray, Utah.
Where?
Murray.
Murray? Okay.
Yeah, I actually used to live in Washington and lived down here for a while. So.
Okay.
I have a question. Okay, you said you got some pre-approval for water from the county, 75 units or whatever. Does that water come from the county, I'm assuming?
From the Water Conservancy District.
Okay. My main concern with this would be the water. So it's interesting you brought that up. Tokerville, that's a big, we do have, the reservoir going in, and I know there's plans in place. We have expensive water here, though. We're the most expensive water in the state right now.
Yeah,
So-
and I have some more information around that development of
Yeah.
those assets and what that would look like or what that means. So we can
Okay.
provide
Go
some-
ahead with your presentation. I'm sorry
Okay.
for interrupting.
Yeah, no, thank you. And also, we're also very aware of kind of the previous developer that held this ground. We lent the money to them before all of those kind of things happened. Have nothing, no affiliation with those people, anything other than we lent them the money, then they foreclosed or they
Okay.
defaulted, and so we ended up back in our hands.
Okay.
Okay. Let's see, let me go here. Let me share with you kind of the history of what we've done to this point. There's been 3 years worth of engineering studies, public hearings at the Water Conservancy District, been on their agenda probably 4 different times through those years. The development agreement there, multiple public hearings with the county. So this is very well known, at least in those jurisdictions, in those public meetings. It's very well known and been addressed multiple times. But when we first acquired the property through the foreclosure, we were kind of, well, what do we do with this thing, right? I mean, we knew that it was scheduled for residential development. They had this big plan to do a lot of these other things, but now we have 200 acres. So we hired a third party to come in and study Washington County and the housing needs here. There were previous plans to build lots of big homes and do other things, but we had said, well, we don't know if that's really what Washington County needs, what the market demands, and also how do we become good neighbors, right? And what we did also see is that the state has come to the county and said, hey, we need more affordable housing, we need cheaper housing. And so there's some mandates that have been issued to the counties and some other jurisdictions to ensure that there's affordable housing. I think the last study we saw that affordable housing was about 60,000 units short in Utah at a certain point in time. The Zonda study, and you will have a copy of that. I don't remember if we provided that. Maybe, I think you have that. We can provide that to you. You can have that as well. It was completed about 3 years ago. But the study came out and confirmed that with the data that more affordable housing is what's going to be demanded and needs to be built to meet the needs of Washington County. So, there were plans to build, lots of big homes up there, and it's an amazing view and great property. But we felt like it was better to serve the community with those needs. And it kind of becomes kind of like a drive to afford kind of product. And D.R. Horton is a specialist in that product. They're the nation's largest home builder and very good at doing that and providing low-cost housing. So they have the majority of that contract, but the study was completed 3 years ago. So now we understood what product we were going to build or what type of product. We didn't have a builder yet at that time. So we started letting that out, talking to builders, who could do what capabilities they had. And we completed that negotiation, got D.R. Horton on board. We also then started another study. There was multiple traffic studies completed, one significant one about the Anderson Junction interchange over there. We actually completed our study before the development that is being done over there,
The industrial,
Boulder Ridge.
yeah.
So our study was completed before Boulder Ridge. So, and Tokerville is consulted on that. Tokerville City is also the applicant on a BLM right-of-way that we'll use for that project, and that was submitted 2 years ago. So the city has been involved in the process for over 2 years, certain amounts of information, but at a certain point, until it kind of all comes together and coalesces in a real step-by-step process and a coherent package, I think that's why we're here today, right? The purpose is to share with you, here's what the 3 years of work that's been done in conjunction with the county, the city, the Water Conservancy District, and UDOT, and all the other entities that we've been involved with in working through this process. And then when the Water Conservancy District wanted us to come back to Tokerville and try one more time, we were okay with that. We do think that eventually it has to be here, and that the city would be the beneficiary of the development. And we think that what we've got planned, it works well. It might be different than what's here in the old part of the town, but this will be part of the, kind of the newer part of the town.
Yeah.
And so previous to all of this, we had worked with the county on getting the improvements and the entitlements. So they did approve 75 units for the first phase. It'll be multiple phases. Essentially, each phase will consist of 75 to 100 units and every 6 months. And that will go on for about 7 years. So it's a significant development.
Yeah.
March 18th, you can see the second bullet of the third major bullet. Key milestone was that the Washington County Commission approved our public infrastructure district, which allows us then to access municipal bonds to pay for the infrastructure. So you mentioned about the water, where's that going to come from and what's happening there?
Yeah.
So the public improvement district will bond for the water infrastructure. That will then, once that's built, it'll be dedicated back to the city, and then the city will use that as their infrastructure, and they'll be running that and serving that. But we will actually pay for that, and then we have assessment bonds and geo bonds, and a big portion of that will come out of the geo bonds, and the homeowners in that development will pay for that infrastructure through their taxes over the next 30 years. So that won't cost the city anything. Okay, any questions about that?
I got a question to the city. I thought it was through the understanding that the city didn't want to see any more PIDs.
Yeah, that's correct. So if this development were to be annexed into the city, the public infrastructure district itself would remain under county governance. So they are the creating entity for this. The city did in 2023 or 2024 adopt a resolution kind of putting a broad umbrella over that created a public infrastructure district policy. It wasn't a strict exclusion, but it is important to note this is not something that the city would inherit.
Let me ask this clarification, though. If a PID fails, isn't it the responsibility of the city to take it over?
It is not. No, that's clearly defined in state statute that it's that the risk, the financial risk borne in a public infrastructure district investment is not borne by the creating entity.
And then who takes it over if it fails?
It's essentially the lender is the senior debt holder on that, and exactly what happened in this case, it falls back to those they recover their investment by selling the land off. So, but it does not.
Bondholders are at risk. It's not the city.
Okay.
I have a question just out of curiosity. What phase would the vacation rentals come in?
Over time, in each phase, they'll be phased in as they're sold and built out.
Just a few of them with each phase?
I believe that it's between 25 and 30. It's kind of at at the request of the builder. So the builder is a company called Fieldstone. They're a regional builder here in the state of Utah. We felt that it was important to have a regional builder involved in the project. D.R. Horton would have gladly taken all of it. They sell in Long Valley about 300 homes a year. They know how to sell homes and
They do.
make those affordable. But we wanted a regional builder in there. And they were, just maybe to put it maybe a little bluntly, they didn't really want to compete with D.R. Horton because D.R. Horton can sell cheaper than they can build, right? They build 100,000 homes a year. They have massive amounts of capital, all these other
Yeah,
things.
they're massive. Yeah.
So they wanted a different product to differentiate their building, their product versus D.R. Horton's. So they conducted another study. So multiple studies being done. They conducted a study by the University of Utah that said that product, the nightly rental product, is in demand. And with new ordinances being passed along with the county, in the development agreement that we have with the county, it requires that any nightly rentals be centrally managed. So you can't have a situation where you've got a bunch of nightly rentals spread throughout neighborhoods and nobody knows who's managing or the owner of these things and kind of the problems that result from that. So this would be like a resort community within its own area that could be gated if required. It's really constrained, and I'll show you here on a map. And you have a single phone number for code enforcement and a single operator that if there was a complaint, the police or whatever was happening, they know exactly who to go to. There's one phone number to call and there's a single management. So it has to be managed by the same management company. It won't be spread out through a neighborhood. So think of it more like a
So it'll
resort.
be zoned for its own little area there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if we were to not annex this, it would probably go ahead and be done anyway under unincorporated Washington County. Is that correct?
Because the PID's in place, the approval to build the first 75 is already completed. Basically what happened is we were, right at the finish line, and the Water Conservancy District wanted to help one of its members in saying, hey, we can provide the retail water service as the district, but we think that belongs with the city. Can you try one more time to see if the city will take it? And we were okay with that because we already anticipated early on that we would have to do that, but there were no takers, basically.
Yeah.
I think at the time that the annexation plan wasn't actually completed for Tokerville at that time. So, or wasn't updated. And so now when it was completed, here we are again, right? So we're patient, we're okay with that.
I have a question about access. So, you said there was a traffic study performed. Obviously, access to that area right now is just on an unimproved frontage road right along the side of
Mills Lane.
I-15 from Anderson Junction.
Yes.
I assume that part of that access would be to pave that and improve that road, but would that be connected on through to the next exit down the Leeds or?
It's a great question. And as you can imagine, we've had multiple discussions. This is probably our fifth discussion with UDOT, with the county, with Leeds, with Tokerville, various representatives. There is a desire to do that for some safety reasons for Leeds. And if you look at the Dixie MPO Phase 1 plan, they have scheduled or approved a new interchange near our location. It's supposed to be developer funded. And so in certain phases that might occur, but as you can imagine, this size of a development could not tax enough on 200 acres to build a $70 million interchange. It just won't happen.
Right.
So there are funds available to improve secondary access, emergency access in a variety of different ways. There's also already in the process a secondary access, which we discussed just previously, the BLM access that we've already applied for 2 years ago, which would basically put two roads in and out of the development onto Mills Lane and then improve that road. Initially, it'll be 28 feet, 2 lanes, and then it will be 66 feet, or the collector road, the 65 or whatever. So once that gets all developed, and we'll do it in phases as the population the public infrastructure district allows us to bond multiple times to issue bonds to build those roads as we need it and as we're going to improve it. So those discussions have been going on for 2 years about how to, and there's a variety of things going on, but it has already been priced on the Dixie MPO's Phase 1 plan as a developer-funded process. The county has some of their own ideas about what they would like. Effectively, if this becomes annexed in, it's the jurisdiction of Tokerville at that point. And we've already got that secondary access scheduled out.
So existingly, you do not have a secondary access. You're going through BLM to get the easements, the requirements. And I also understand one of the property owners over there will not let you through his property and stopping everything, even UDOT. And so I just want everybody to know, I do my homework.
Yeah, and how's the BLM part of it coming along? Like, does it,
Very good. But everything has been approved at the local level, the local BLM office, and now it's at the state level for final approval. But it's been 2 years, so it's,
yeah, I know.
they're not
they were
very
kinda-
fast.
They were kind of MIA there for a while, like,
I think it's important to note that city statute, so Tocqueville City Code, would not allow more than 20 units to be constructed without a second point of access. The other thing that I wanted to point out, and this was identified by Commissioner Welker, that those offsite improvements should be included in the development agreement. And that being paving Mills Lane all the way out to where it's not. So that would be a staff recommendation to include that in the development agreement where it's not currently.
Yeah.
As an
Which
offsite.
we would clearly need that anyways.
Yeah.
Clearly.
Okay, go ahead.
Let's see, I think we've covered most of these. Unless there's other questions, I'll hit the next one. Sorry that there's so much text. It's better with pictures. I promise there's a few pictures in here coming up. We also completed a financial impact study by a group called Better Cities, who does a lot of studies for different cities about annexation, what happens and how is it going to impact the cities. And you should have a copy of that as well. They have that? Okay. In going through that process, there was a couple of interesting things. One primarily is that those additional rooftops that'll be just about 1.5 miles away from the development at Anderson Junction will support the commercial base. So the tax base that the city is going to rely on for the extra revenue, those rooftops are actually going to be paying money into there, but they're also paying their property taxes. So I know a lot of cities look at commercial tax base as the holy grail because of sales tax, right? And it's an ongoing basis. And having more rooftops will support more development at that level and support the restaurants and stores and all of those things that are there. And so we have been in significant discussions with Jerry Eves, the developer over there, to make sure that we're kind of coordinating things, some access. And initially, when we did the Zonda study 3 years ago, they also recommended doing some commercial development. We chose not to because it would compete with that development at the interchange. And we felt like eventually there will be something there. Maybe if that interchange comes in, there's something that might happen there. But that would be for a later phase, and somebody else with property there can develop commercial base or those things. But the study needed homes. And the developer there, Jerry Eves, needs rooftops to support purchases there. So we didn't want to cannibalize that revenue at that location. And also, he probably has a better location for a commercial base right off the interchange. So ours would be down the road. So it just made more sense to be residential only, and then those rooftops would support that development that you've already approved.
Yeah, I read that Better City financial impact analysis, and I've done this for 30 years professionally in government. And your whole analysis of net benefit is based on commercial restaurants, hotels, and everything else, which the city has not. We got one restaurant, I think.
we have two.
We got 2 restaurants now.
Sap Brothers.
That's that, I've been there.
You got a-
Burrito Bros.
Yeah, okay, if you call Burrito Bros a restaurant. Okay. And so anybody can make it look good, and that's what they did. But knowing how long it takes to get somebody to invest millions of dollars to put in restaurants, hotels, and everything else. Because of the rooftops, and you're correct, rooftops want services and things like that. They want them. That doesn't mean they're going to get them. And that's what happens a lot of times. And so I've seen it where you're 15 years in before you start seeing the beneficial reports even get close to be beneficial for the city. And I understand, I appreciate you guys doing that up front, because that with an environmental impact study, that's the first thing I'm asking for, to go through to even get enough information to even consider things like that. So I'm just telling you, I've done it, I've seen it, I've spent 30 years in it, and I see what they do, and any company that's hired to do anything can make it look like it's a positive win for anybody.
Yeah, exactly. The assumptions are what's important.
Yeah.
And what we felt was important to make sure that the assumptions that went into the study came directly from the staff. So Ben provided and Darren provided those assumptions to Better Cities to do the calculation for us. So Better Cities didn't kind of come up with this on their own. It was directly impact fees, directly what the city would charge and what would develop there. Now, absorption rate, like you're saying, hey, it can take a long time. We can have these great plans of, we're going to build 100 homes every 6 months. What if the market falls flat? Or there's lots of contingencies around this. That's why we're going to do it, phase it out, and do the PIDs in phases. But the overall basis, we believe, is that more rooftops in that area is going to help your commercial base. And same with the Firelight development. So combining those with the ones that we have across the street, that's going to help support that commercial base. So we would hope that this is an estimate. We would hope that that would be the case.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I see 99.9% leakage of Torkerville residents to other communities and other counties.
They're going to Hurricane, they're going to Hurricane.
Yep.
So this will give them something down here.
I see it all the time. So,
Yeah.
okay, thanks.
Okay. I probably don't need to go into much of the Zona study because we'll show you the housing text, and you're going to see what the Zona study was pre-D.R. Horton. So you're going to see and D.R. Horton builds what the Zona study said to build. So you'll see more applicable application for the product type and the densities and what's available. I won't bore you with this again because you've already seen what that information. Here's what the study came out with. These are basically what we're going to be doing: the flats, townhomes, paired homes, 40, 50, and 30-foot wide lots. So it'll be fairly dense, but again, that's what's needed to provide commercial base for purchases, more density, and then also cheaper homes. Any questions there?
When you say cheaper homes, what price point would they be at? I'm a realtor, by the way.
Yeah, so I think what you're seeing with D.R. Horton will be better to, you'll get a really good idea of that when you tour their Long Valley facility. They're down there, their development. But we're talking, 300-ish. I mean, that's probably the low end. It may not even get that far, but it's 300 to probably 600,000, depending on what type of product it is. Yeah, it's very difficult anywhere to get to 300. It's probably more 385 is probably the bottom on most of them. But our information was 3 years old, right? So that was the information that was studied. Here's an overview of the PID, and I will go show you some elevation views of the homes that you want to understand there. So this is an overview of the infrastructure. We have a $5 million levy that we can go up to $50 million in geo bonds, and that's where the infrastructure, the offsites, the road, water, sewer, electrical. There will not be, currently right now, we're not scheduled to do any gas there because Enbridge is kind of notoriously difficult to deal with. And most of the builders have said we're not doing any more gas because Enbridge won't contribute to any of the infrastructure development.
Wow.
So I personally love gas, but it's going to be all electric there because of that reason. Then we have special assessment bonds that will do in-track development. So the geo bonds help with a lot of the offsites and then in-track. And those are different. I'm sure you're familiar with that those bonds are paid off as the lots are sold. They're not part of the mill rate or the levy that goes into the property tax. They're sold and closed out as the land goes from our development to the builder. When they close on the lots, the bonds are paid off. So not all bonds are carried for that 30-year period. Any questions about that? Okay. Here are the entitlements.
All as I say, if I've seen this many times, buyer beware.
Well, I don't know enough to know what to ask yet. I feel like I just need time to,
Okay. No, that's great, and that's why we're here.
Yeah.
You know, we're providing the information to digest. One of the things that we did do in our formation documents at the county is we required each homeowner, when they buy the home from the builder, to sign a document that says they understand that they'll be in a PIT assessed district and that their tax rate will be different than the others, other people, homeowners who are not in the district. And they have to notarize that. So
when
at
you
their
say
closing,
different, you mean higher, right? How much
yeah,
higher?
potentially higher because, well, the 5 mills, right? So whatever is on top of whatever the county is already assessing and whatever is local, then we have 5 mills for that geo bond. And
So the total mill levy in Tokerville currently for across all entities, school district being the biggest one, is 7.7 mils. And the city's mill levy for the city's property tax is actually 0.9. So it's less than 1 mil, to give you an idea of kind of what 5 mils even means.
It's funny because you're saying they're paying a higher property tax, but it's supposed to be affordable. It's not really,
They're paying for the developer to put the infrastructure in so he doesn't have to pay for it.
Exactly.
And the city council is going to get blamed for their higher property taxes. I've seen it over and over. And you explain it, you make them sign it. Basically, they're paying the infrastructure that you're putting in.
yeah, it's an interesting concept for it's intergenerational infrastructure. One of my first assignments when I was in the state legislature was the Transportation Committee. And at the time, this was 2004, so they just done a big build of I-15. And it was a $2 billion bond, if I remember correctly, to do all the infrastructure and build all of these things. And then we had to widen the freeway after that. And so a lot of discussion about that and about where does the money come from? What is the bonding, the state's bonding capacity, and who's paying for all of these things, and how you spread that out. And it's really difficult for people to kind of conceive that the homes that are built out here, and they're using infrastructure that was built with 1950s dollars. So their tax assessment is lower, but so their house was $4,000 or what, you just take it each 10 years, a generational increment in the cost of infrastructure, and it rises with the cost of housing. And so the issue that we have where the state is short housing really is an infrastructure issue, because most of the easy to get to infrastructure that has been absorbed or used by developers in the past that was built with 1970s dollars, $80, $1990 has been consumed and used. And, you've got 30-year bonds, they're all paid off, and so the tax rates are low for those people. But if you would go back in a little time machine back to 1990 or 1980 or 70 or whenever, those were similar complaints about new infrastructure districts. But the development wasn't as expansive because the population was so much smaller. I grew up in Spanish Fork, Utah. At the time, there was 8,000 people, and now there's almost 50,000. So the development structure runs off of municipal bonds first, because there isn't a bank who will fund infrastructure because there's no recourse. Once it's in the street, it's in the road.
They don't have any collateral. Yeah.
There's no collateral to go collect. So a bank will not loan on that. So a developer, like our initial purchase of that property through the foreclosure was almost $18 million. So we're in it $18 million cash. Now, coming out, getting development funds and putting that all into place, all those things. There's a lot of risk associated with that. We had 3 years of not knowing we're going to get this done or not,
Yeah.
right? And so that commensurate risk with banking versus bonding, the real solution to the housing shortage is build big infrastructure so that it can be absorbed over decades, right? And then the intergenerational assets of infrastructure are more appropriately absorbed by a greater population base. So you can't conserve your way into a surplus of housing. You have to build. You have to build so that prices can either stabilize. I don't think they're ever coming down, right? But they can stabilize. But that requires infrastructure and the ability for developers to then not have to go to the bond market every time that they're trying to put in a project, because you put up cash for land, and it is not possible for a developer then to put up cash for the infrastructure. Well, this infrastructure for this development is nearing about $20 million. So we would be $40 million into it, and the carrying cost on that and all of those things will drive up the cost of housing, because the homeowner eventually pays for everything, including the interest, the carrying cost, all of those things to develop it. So the bigger you build it, the quicker you build it, the cheaper it is 10 years from now, 20 years from now. So that's the concept. And that's a little harder for people to understand. But when we talk about the developer paying for something, the developer really doesn't. He takes the risk on the investment. The homeowner, eventually it's all transferred to them.
Yeah.
So we're trying to make it as cheap as possible by going as big as possible, because we get the economy of scale, and we also get cheaper dollars quicker, sooner, faster, and housing is cheaper or more stable.
So the PIG then would be all this infrastructure and things would be given over to the county, and the county would be responsible for maintenance and operation and everything?
If the annexation were to take place, it goes to the city. It gets dedicated to the city. If we stay in the county, it goes to the county.
But there's no money set aside for the city for the next 10, 50 years to maintain an operation.
Well, there are fees, the impact fees that are assessed. And that, if you look at the study, that'll show you kind of essentially the replacement rate of the roads, the water, the sewer, and those fees are to be set aside in a fund to do that, and that's where the impact fees go to.
Yeah.
It is, and to have a surplus of 7 million.
Some of that 2.5-inch pavement and your base and stuff is ridiculous road requirements. I've already told them when I first came here, they don't stand up. You don't even consider a road unless it has a 25-year life, which is 6 inches compacted base with 18 inches of road base underneath. And I've had to deal with it for years, but that's what's in the requirements. And I think the city needs to change those requirements, but builders don't want to put that in because it's so expensive up front, just like everything else.
Yeah. And hence the infrastructure problem that I just described, but that is a continual thing, balancing electric, water, sewer, roads, all of that. And it all goes, you can have higher building standards, it all goes to the cost of the homeowner at some point. It all, they're the eventual end buyer. So in order to keep that down, and it's a little easier to pay for the infrastructure a little bit more as you go along. But initially, it's got to be all paid for up front. So, any more questions?
I think everything you've described so far has been really helpful. It sounds like you're trying to do the best you can with a complex problem. The high housing right now is a result of a very, I guess, unique situation where we have the higher interest rates plus the higher cost of homes. That's what's keeping so many buyers out of the market.
Yeah. Nobody wants-
Usually they balance each other out. Usually the interest rates will go down when the prices are higher or vice versa.
Yeah.
We don't have that right now. We have a unique situation where they're both high.
And
that's something none of us can directly control.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's why you have to have more inventory.
yeah.
The only way is to grow your way out of the problem, not to conserve your way into it.
And I am a little concerned, and I understand the state that don't have enough housing and everything. And I got grandkids that can't afford houses, can't even close. But I think this little school for down here because we have so many second owners and stuff and snowbirds and vacation homes that the need for housing there's always a need of affordable housing for our children. And our children deserve that. I understand that. And our grandkids and everything else. And there's got to be a way to come up with a plan to fix that, but it's not happening. But this is saying that we need more housing down here, unfortunately, just like you said, wanting to put in 200 vacation homes. After April, May, we could go into Walmart and a Costco and shop. All the other months from October to, we have all the snowbirds, all the second home owners. You talk to everybody and they are second home homeowners and stuff.
That's true.
Probably 75% of them down here.
You're discussing exactly why we put the kind of that little nightly rental component in there in a neighborhood and kind of sequestered it. We know that there's a demand for that, but it's separated so that those other homes will not be available for nightly rentals or other people to do those kind of things. So they will go to people who are looking for more affordable housing. But then we are also meeting the need for somebody who wants to buy a nightly rental or wants to have a second home or something in a more resort-like kind of environment. So it encompasses both. But the vast majority of what we're doing, 85% of it is going to be affordable housing. So here's, this is the plat for the first 75 that are approved already through the county. So you can see there's townhomes that are alley loaded, and then single family residents. There's a mix of it in there, and then some open space. This is the broader site. And you see the part that looks about halfway through it. It's cut out and kind of looks great. It's got the sagebrush in there, right? That's where the nightly rental place will go. And these are conceptual plans. We're still working on the exact detail of what will actually be developed there. We've got some geography that we're dealing with in terms of some retaining and how it will actually fit in there. We're refining the site balancing on the topography, but effectively that sliver will be the nightly rentals, but everything else is the other homes from D.R. Horton.
So I own 45 acres and I probably have one of the nicest pieces in Torkerville. I want it to stay 45 acres with my one house. But you're up there with the pinyon pine and the trees and everything on that hill and stuff. And the woozy, and you're in the woozy, you can't get insurance for houses in those areas now. I can't get insurance for my house. It's tripled and everything. I have to stay at the same because the new regulations with this interface with out there in the wildland interface, you can't get insurance. Insurance companies will not insure you. How are you going to address that?
Well, I think we've left that up to D.R. Horton because they're effectively the buyer and they have the details in place to how they're accommodating that in other locations. So the buyer, so again, as the developer, we're not the builder. So the builder will work through that with other people that are getting their insurance and effectively clearing a radius or whatever they need to do for the development of the geography there with the foliage. So our process for that is basically encompassed in our contracts with D.R. Horton, and they take care of that or field some.
I just see it being a big problem. It's getting worse and worse.
Yeah.
I see the LA fires, the Hawaii fires. I went to college in the Paradise fires, right there where it all burnt down. So I know very much how open it is and around it and everything, and how firestorms can kill people.
It's bad, yeah. Well, and effectively, a lot of that's going to be removed for the grading and the balancing of the process, the project. So, let's see. This is what would be, take that gray area, this is what would be inserted in there. It's a little different shape than what's in there now in that the full project plan. But that's what the nightly rental concept will look like. That secondary access that's been applied for actually connects right there. So there's two roads. We'll go in, one on the bottom, and one, let me go backwards on this, right? This one, here we go. So if you look, here is the primary entrance, and then here will be the secondary entrance. so that this nightly rental will essentially have a shorter path, and they may be able to gate that off, but they don't be accessible through all of it, so it's kind of a loop that comes back out and around, if that makes sense.
And those are typically safety crash gates where in an emergency, a typical vehicle
Yeah.
can open that up.
Yeah, and we worked with the builder that secondary access road will not have a gate on it, but where they would turn into the development for the nightly rentals would. It's potentially, and they may elect to not actually put gates there, because then they have to manage it, it's more costs, for the HOA, all of those things, so. It's one of the things that they can do, but they haven't elected to do that just yet.
So that gives you two accesses into that community, but you're still only access to the community is still only off the frontage road. So you still only have one wave effectively in and out of the community.
Well, yeah, for that side of the freeway on that, but in discussions with UDOT, everybody yesterday and previous discussions, they don't want to run the traffic down to Leeds North Interchange because it's not very well designed.
No, it's not.
And, yeah, and the other part is, with our traffic study that we completed, they said that traffic flow was sufficient for that, more than sufficient for that traffic flow in that area for that, with the new redesign at Boulder Ridge, going up and around and the 1,000-foot offset, all that stuff. So the traffic study, ours, which was completed before Boulder Ridge said it was sufficient for the throughput.
You said there was a possibility of a new interchange going in at that location. Like, how likely is that, and how far down the road would that be?
It's, I could share with you kind of, let me get back here. That location, so the DCMPO did a study on the location already, and they determined that location would be about right there. And that location, and it would kind of, it's maybe around here, it would go off, 1,000-foot offset here, and then it had acceleration, deceleration lanes here, in this area. So it'd be really close.
Is that near where the Silver Reef Parkway would come in?
I don't know.
No,
Silver
That's
It's
further
on the other side of
south.
the freeway.
we're the other side.
Right, but wouldn't it tie in close over to that area?
It's on the other side.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a long ways away from.
Okay.
It's on that other side that we went around.
Right, right.
Yeah, by the Mills Hole, it's a whole different.
Yeah, it's up there and around that side.
That configuration was, from multiple discussions, seems to be the best, including the input that we've got, that everybody has for whatever reason, more issues with things going to the south and connecting on that interchange, because then that exacerbates the poor design there, so they don't want that traffic there, so they would prefer that it either goes up or stays in that same process, and that those two accesses go up. The study, and you have a copy of that study as well, that shows that the daily travel, the number of cars that are the daily travel rate is sufficient for that, and that will be a 65-foot collector, so it'll be good.
It's sufficient, but already with the truck stop and everything else going in there, it's going to be a mess at that interchange.
Well, based on population calculations, if we're talking about 1,500 units, correct?
Yes.
And if you look at the previous census for Tokerville, which calculated about 3.5 to 4 people per unit, we are looking at a population for this development between 5,000 and 6,000 people.
Yep.
That's a lot of people.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that ties into so many of the things that we're looking at tonight, not just the infrastructure, not just the water, but where are these people going to go to the grocery store? Are they driving to Lynn's? I mean, it's already a long enough drive for us here in Tokerville. Leeds doesn't have a grocery store.
Well, I think it goes right to the question earlier about rooftops supporting commercial base.
I understand that. But you have to have so many rooftops before you bring in a Smith's. Look how long it's taken for Smith's to show up down, at, what is it, exit Sun River, right? So, yeah, that's a big concern. You're going to have a lot of rooftops before you get any commercial development there. So that is a concern too. You've got the roads. I mean, I have so many questions as we go through this.
Yeah.
But the population, I just want everybody to understand that we are talking about 5,000 to 6,000 people in this development alone.
Well, and when I think of a
Rental
rooftop,
cabin every
Yeah.
night.
when I think of a rooftop, I also think of every rooftop has 2 cars at least, right?
At least, and a
So it's your-
motorhome and a side by
I think of the
side.
increase in the traffic with it.
Yeah, so I would encourage you to look at the traffic study so that you can.
Yeah.
That
I
would-
feel like I need more information generally. This is, I mean, no, there's plenty of information here. I guess what I'm saying is I feel like I need more time to go over all the information.
And also the city staff, the fire services, the police services, animal services, things that we have to pay to provide or share in that, and our animal services aren't working out very much. Schools, things like that, all those at some point are going to trigger. And I don't know about, I drove by there today. I don't know exactly where the site is, and everybody knows that I want to be on the land. I want to see the property lines. I want to see those things. I see the Little Leeds fire station over there that is volunteer things. And yes, Noah Laverkin is going out here with their ambulances all the time, providing services for our community, which we're very grateful for. But a lot of this, I understand, I'm pro-development. Don't get me wrong, but I'm very cautious. I want to be very clear on everything else. And I'm not saying I'm making a decision or anything else. But you made the comment that you didn't want to be, we told Boulder Ridge that he couldn't put a bunch of houses in the middle of his. He came to us 6 year ago and asked to put houses right in the middle of his subdivision because he wanted rooftops, and we turned him down. Our recommendation was to turn him down. And so that concerns me. But yes, it makes sense being next door and being a support and asking him to be a support and being neighbors and being a community. And that's what it takes, a community nation. But it also takes a lot of thorough going through. Unfortunately, I've never seen an annexation ever go through. It takes about a year to go through and study it, make sure everything's in place. I'm a little concerned that we're close to Silver Reef. That's a mining community that the city, and I'm sure you are concerned that you didn't purchase land that has contaminated sites or cleanup sites and things like that, because I've had to deal with that numerous times. Also, we get this, unfortunately, it's not your fault. I was exposed to it on 2 days ago, pretty much. Had my pre-meeting with them.
You had the packets a week
Yeah,
ago.
yeah, the packet a week ago, and then I asked for some more stuff sent to the planning commission, which they got during that meeting, which was the environmental impact and the fiscal study and things like that.
So you have access to the phase 1 soil samples and things that we've already completed?
Excuse me, I couldn't
The
understand.
phase 1 soil samples, so all of the
No,
geotechnical.
no, we didn't get
I haven't
that.
seen it.
We didn't get
So
that.
that was completed on the site 2
Yeah.
years ago. So
It's glad the phase 1, because that's, you don't do anything until you get to phase 1, and that's not even an environmental study. It's just the startup. So,
and I absolutely appreciate maybe being in your shoes, because it was kind of like it's almost like a little bit of a shotgun marriage, you know, in the sense where the Water Conservancy District says, hey, go over here and see what these guys think. And so we're like, all right, we'll come over here and see what you guys think. And not having been in the meetings that we've had with the county, with the Water Conservancy District, with, Ash Creek Sewer District, we've been doing this for now 3 years. So the information, everything that you are bringing up is exactly the things that we've covered already. Otherwise, we wouldn't be getting 75 units approved by the county and fire.
Yeah.
Because, we've certainly had Hurricane Valley Fire District involved in all of this process at the hearings, at the meetings. And so we have will serve letters from all of the utilities for all the issues that you're bringing up. So all of that will be included in your information, and it's available and was actually used in passing the first 75 entitlements for the project at the county. So in a sense, you're kind of getting a complete package. That's the good news. The bad news is you're getting a complete package. You have to digest all of that.
It's information overload for us,
Yeah.
kind of.
Yeah. It's the good news, bad news, right?
Yeah, so,
And you just stated, you've been going through that 3 years, and you've had 4 or 5 meetings and stuff, and now we're getting it in one night
Yeah.
with all this, and no, we haven't seen the agreements that you're pre-approved with Hurricane Fire and the sewer and everything. We didn't see that. That would be very, very helpful to us. And so, all that, and I understand that you've been sitting on this for years and taking it back, and it's losing money, costing money to make money. We understand that. And I guess for our attorney, I have a question.
well, I have a question too, when you're done.
Let's go ahead.
You go ahead first.
Well,
Yeah.
I guess we probably needed a briefing on this ordinance for the
Yeah, I
annexation,
think we did.
excuse me, so we understood the process on that. And then knowing that that's not an approval, and you get made it very clear in your paperwork and your analysis and stuff, that the next step is after that, then we go into the annexation, and then a lot more work happens, which can take 9 months to a year. That work takes to, but what worries me is, and if we get to that 9 months and they still want the reduced sites, because that's what pencils out to make money, and that's not what our ordinance allows now. And so that's why they're going into the development agreement and asking it for the reduced sites and things like that. But in my prior life, when you approve one thing, and then if you stop them on the second thing, 99% of them, they come back and sue you and say, hey, you already approved the pre.
Right.
Yeah.
That's one of my
Okay,
questions.
yeah, so we should sort this out a little bit, because I think there's a little bit of confusion about like, why are we seeing this? So there's a few different ways things can be initiated. So what you guys are typically used to is like bottom-up approach. So like we have an amendment to Title 10, our land use regulations, comes to you and then it goes to council. But sometimes with things like Solara that's been in the works for years, like we'll receive direction from council, hey, this is something we should paper and maybe consider. So then we put together what we've done here, pre-annexation agreement, development agreement. When they tell us to put that together, that doesn't mean we're approving it or anything like that. It's just a matter of, we've got to see this on paper to even consider it. I mean, it's a lot. So that's the situation here, right? And I understand that you may feel like this is a lot. I mean, to be honest, I've had a lot of discussions with Ben about this, and it's still a lot for me to process. Like, it's a lot. I mean, this packet is literally almost 100 pages.
Yeah.
Okay, so nobody's expecting you to say, you know what, piece of cake, like I don't have any questions, let's just approve this thing. Like, you should have questions, and you should have, you know, additional information that you want. And I think the key for tonight is, you know, maybe saying, these are some things that I'd like to see, right? Like, we don't always know that, and we don't always want to inundate you with 1,000 pages, right, of information. So sometimes we'll give you the agreements and you might say, look, I really need to see this additional information, or look, this really needs to be fleshed out more. And that's what you should be doing. And then we have homework to do, right? So that's the point of tonight is to look at these things and ask as many questions as you can. Like, you have the developer here, he's here to ask any question, or to answer any questions. And then, you know, we'll make revisions. You guys will have additional time to review this. This is a lot. So, I mean, there's no expectation for you guys to approve this tonight. That being said, I know there's some confusion about why I put the ordinance on here as well. We have to make sure from a legal perspective that the city's bases are covered. So, you know, if you guys were to decide like, hey, we like this idea of these developments that come in under this specific provision in LUDMA, being able to have different short-term rental restrictions, we have to codify that at the same time, right? We can't allow it in a development agreement and then come back and say, oh, wait, we never thought about whether we wanted to do that. So that's the purpose for that. It may be that you look at that ordinance and you say, look, I just need more time to process this whole thing. Let's just table, and that's fine. But we have to cover the city's bases in terms of what we put on the agenda, so that, you know, if you guys were to show up and say, we want to approve all this, that the mechanisms are in place to protect the city.
Okay. I have a question. So I'm kind of leaning toward tabling just for the reasons you just mentioned. My question to you is if we table it pending, we just need more,
Well, I think there's some
time.
specific
Let me finish
things,
my
like-
question. Let me finish my
Okay.
question. Just that we need more time and more information, more questions answered. Is that a deal breaker for you? Like you that just then go back to the county and say, we can't do it in Tocqueville, so we're just going to do it with the county? Or, I mean,
No, it's a great question about, hey, what's the process? If it's a yes or it's a no, what do we do, in that process? I think what we want to do is, there's a reasonable amount of time that you guys need to digest it,
yeah.
right? We totally agree. I mean, it's taken us 3 years, right, in the development process.
Yeah.
But we have kind of this finished thing where, like, all the questions you've asked, have been asked multiple times before. We've answered them. We've gotten the agreements together. I mean, it's basically a finished product. And so, as you can imagine, we're eager to move on.
Yeah.
We don't get going on things. But what we don't want to do is require your, put your role in vetting this process on the chopping block, some sacrificial kind of thing for expediency, right? That's not what we're looking to do. We know that it takes some time, but at the same time, we have to balance this with, at what point do we go back to the Water Conservancy District and say, hey, we approached, in good faith, we put together all the contracts, we presented all the information, all these things, and it's still not happening. We would then have to say, at some point, we have to kind of pull the plug and say, we're back to the county. And the county knows that, right? They're involved in that process. So I think what I'm asking is, what does that mean, for this open-ended evaluation? That's hard for us.
I'm not saying it has to be open-ended. We could table it with a time limit or something. I mean,
Yeah, no, and I agree with you.
yeah, we
that
don't
could
want a
put it on the
never-ending
next
thing
meeting.
for sure.
That we
Yeah.
could put it on the next meeting you provide us. Staff, have you got these agreements and everything that they say they have with these other agencies?
Not everything that I've heard, I've seen. So, I
Okay,
mean,
so-
there may be some open questions that we can ask. We can formulate, we can compile a list of questions for the developer and they can bring that to us.
Yeah, and I just
That would
want
be
to chime in.
helpful.
I apologize for interrupting you before, but I just wanted to.
Oh,
chime in.
that's okay.
I think if we're going to table it, it's better to say like, here's some specific things we'd like to see. Like, I know from our perspective and also the staff's, it's like we want the primary access issue ironed out a bit more. I'd like to see a provision added that addresses that more fully. So, I mean, that's one thing that, we'd suggest tabling it for anyways. If you guys have additional thoughts, I think it'd be really helpful to provide some direction, like, hey, these are some things we'd like to see next time. That way we're not just saying, table it.
Just putting it off, just put it
Yeah,
off.
just give
Yeah.
him some things. And that doesn't mean that, if he brings those things, he's going to get a recommendation for approval. It's just that you need more information, or maybe you need to see something on paper before you can evaluate it. And that's totally within your right to ask.
I guess what we would ask for is, it's come up with the criteria that just says, here are the list of questions we would like to have answers to. And by some certain time, because literally we can deliver to you overnight, all the agreements between the agencies, the will serve letters for all the services, all of those things are already agreed to.
Just separate, yeah.
And all of the things you're asking questions about, this traffic study, all that, we can deliver it. But then there's got to be some reasonable time frame that we say, hey, when do we pull the plug? Because if it may never get there.
That was
So
my question to you. I don't want to just say, I don't want to table it and then have you pull the plug immediately. I mean, it's something that we're not,
there could be a lot of benefits for the city if it's done right.
yeah.
I don't think there's no expectation of a vote that you're not completely comfortable with. You haven't had the opportunity to ask the questions that you'd like to ask. I mean, I wouldn't expect that. I don't think anybody would. I don't think that the applicant would. I think.
Yeah. And it's one of the reasons why we wanted to talk to people individually. What questions do you have? Because we didn't know how much you had. We kind of assumed maybe that with some of the conversations from the previous elected officials, there was discussions going on because they're the ones requested of this at the Water Conservancy District. So we don't know what you know or don't know. It's kind of an unknowable thing. But at the same time, what would you guys say is a reasonable amount of time for you to have your questions answered? Because I don't know how to answer that
Probably by
question.
the next meeting would be reasonable, wouldn't it?
So,
When is that?
We only meet monthly.
Second Wednesday in, what month?
May.
A month from now?
Yeah,
And that would give you enough time to say yay or nay?
we have enough information and make
Well,
a,
I don't know
I still
that
have
commit yourself to
questions for
that, right?
tonight.
Like, there's,
I
if you have
kind of
questions.
feel like we would need another special meeting, honestly, to talk about it.
Yes.
Maybe not a meeting like this, but
Right, it's
just,
special.
yeah, like we,
Hold on another meeting in 2 weeks or something? before
well,
next
I don't
week?
love extra meetings, but I mean, I don't know
This is
how
a
else
very
to-
big topic, and we haven't gone through this
May
before.
require, again, we're happy to be here as many times as you want us to be here. I'd meet with you every week if you wanted to, just to make sure you had the information. I do believe, as you do, it requires more interaction, more delivery, more questions, all those things. To where you go, hey, it looks like if the county required all of these things, it looks like all those things are done. If we, if the county is going to approve it, there might be a good reason for us to do it as well. What questions do we not have?
Right.
That the county does have answered.
I have another question. You said that a study said, that there's a demand for more vacation rentals. I'm curious where you got that info.
That was a proprietary study done by the builder that then signed the contract with us. So I don't have access to that study.
Okay, that's
They-
interesting.
Yeah, well, we know what that's
Because
based on.
From my perspective, there's been some mom and pop, we have some mom and pop Airbnbs here in Tocqueville, and we have our own ordinances for that and everything. There's not a lot of new hotels and vacation rentals that have gone in the area all over the county. And tourism has gone down over the last year, and a lot of these mom and pop Airbnbs aren't getting enough business. So when you said there was 200 more vacation rentals, that didn't completely jive with what I've seen, and I'm not against vacation rentals, don't get me wrong. I'm just wondering, where that came from.
Yeah, that study we didn't complete. That was a builder study.
Okay, because I would say right now, this area is saturated with vacation rentals.
Yes.
It's saturated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and I do appreciate you, because first thing I came in when I staff was asking a financial study, environmental. I haven't got the environmental yet. I think Ben has it and gone over it, or did you
You
get
submitted that with the BLM request.
Yeah.
things like
That
that?
was, there's actually probably 2 that were done for that road specifically. And then for the actual site overall, they did, I think, 18 test sites for.
If you did a phase.
All the phase ones. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't receive that one, but I did receive the other one.
No Indians buried up there?
Yeah.
Right, they're all over.
Oh, yeah, they are.
I know what I did too, and things like that.
I can tell you, I got my truck stuck up there though, but then there's lots of sand.
I think it's really important to talk kind of on a really high level about this project.
Yeah.
So traditionally, in an annexation consideration, a developer will come to a city because the city will allow more density than the county. A county is generally very rural, they don't have the infrastructure to provide it. And then if an area is within an annexation plan, the city will consider it. And they say, yeah, you can come to the city to get density. What's happened here is it's backwards, right? The county has said, we will give you this density. And then we jumped in and we said, oh, hey, this is in our annexation plan. Let us consider it. And as an administrator, when I'm looking at this, I'm thinking, why would the planning commission and city council consider this annexation area? Right. They can get this development can go in if we say no. If the city says no, it's going to happen the way that it's designed. And it's kind of already gained that type of momentum. So the question that we have to ask ourselves is, why should this be incorporated to Tocqueville? As an administrator, we're trying to repave roads, 30-year-old roads in a neighborhood, and we don't have the money to do it, right? And so my biggest concern is, can we pay for the infrastructure replacement when that time comes? That the fiscal impact analysis addressed that. In some ways, don't mean to dive too deep into that, but density solves a lot of that problem, as well as commercial development, that kind of that momentum gains. Another thing to consider is that these residents will be, when USPS assigns their address, they will be assigned, even if it's unincorporated, they will either be Leeds or Tokerville.
Right.
Their address could be Tokerville and they could identify as Tokerville residents. It's very likely, this is maybe not important, but they will attend city events. They will attend Tokerville city events. They will identify with this community if they identify with any community at all. They will be using Tokerville roads to get to this development, right? Inevitably, they will pass through Anderson Junction and use Mills Lane. So they will be accessing on Tokerville infrastructure that we maintain. And we simply then don't have a revenue source to replace that infrastructure in the future, that frontage road, Mills Lane, as well as, Anderson Junction and some of that other infrastructure. Some of that maybe, but what we're trying to do with the financial impact analysis is basically to say, does this development pay for itself? And, Chair Hamer, I agree with you, like studies can be manipulated in ways, but essentially we have to question the assumptions. If there's a wrong assumption in there, let's call that out and try and identify if there is a financial deficit or is the financial impact of this development positive or negative. If it's negative, let the county deal with that. But if it's positive, then you may want to say, do we want to exercise some sort of control in this neighborhood, since they will identify as with some sort of community, whether that's Leeds or Tokerville. Just kind of on a really high level, it's like, why would you say yes or no? And I think there's a lot to consider with it.
On a high level as far as the money, right? It's just something we have to look at. But from our perspective, we live and work here. All of us here on the city, we live here. You don't live here, do you?
Correct, yeah. I'm in Washington.
Okay. Well, most of the people that live here, and I can say most as per the last survey, they want a rural community. And so I think that's why you're seeing this opposite thing happen, because people move here because it's not dense, right?
I moved
So
here from
there's a-
Orange County specifically. I lived in what you're building for 21 years. I came here because I wanted a rural community. I don't want to sit on the 405 freeway again from Anderson Junction. I can talk to you all day long about density. Yeah, go ahead.
I think it's important to recognize that we're not deciding whether or not this is going to go in.
I know.
We're deciding whether or not Tokerville City is going to benefit from it or not. That's what we're deciding.
Correct.
But the question is, at what point do you meet that sweet spot where it is, like you said, paying for itself and you're not in the red, That's where I'd want a more clear answer, I guess.
I have a question. So the density that we're looking at right now with the 200 units, that 1,500 units and the 200 short-term rentals in this vacation property, if Tokerville were to want to annex it, do we have any flexibility in lessening the density, or is it, as you have it laid out right now, it's kind of like a take it or leave it?
Well, the real issue is that what we've already got approved for the density from the county economically works for the project. And in the meeting, in the Water Conservancy District meeting, when the board of that district they're essentially the ones that asked us to come back here. In that discussion, we said, okay, if we go to Tokerville and ask them for the same densities and they say no, we're going to go back to the county because I got to recover the money. We got to, we have
Right.
all those things. So it is really kind of a take it or leave it thing. But working with the builder and, the great thing is it's a master plan community, so you can help influence the design or, the layout or all of those things. But the density really goes to the economics, not only as us as a developer and the builder, but the city. The density is what gives you the money, this $7.5 million in a surplus and the extra money to do other things that the city needs. If we lessen the density, your benefit from the city perspective goes down. So it doesn't work for either of us. So that's why we would go back to the county, because you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot in terms of those densities are gonna be there anyways. And so if it's in Tocqueville City, the city benefits from the densities. And I mean, that's just a basic function of the math. So you'll want density because it helps Ben solve the problem that he has of paving roads other places and having, the money in the future to be able to provide infrastructure.
Yeah, I agree. I see what you're saying, and I agree with what Glenn said. The question is, do we want to control it or not, and reap the benefits or not? I mean, it's already been decided as far as the density, which,
So.
but I feel like I still need more questions answered for those two things. Like, how is it going to benefit us, and how soon will it start benefiting us, I guess, and will we be able to have everything in place to be responsible for it too?
So one of the things I sit on this council for is because I believe it's my responsibility to protect the quality of life of the people that live here and to enhance the quality of life of those that will come to and protect that quality of life. And sometimes we see that protection of quality of life and enhancement of quality of life with the construction spiral and the silicon cities and things like that. And yeah, it makes a lot of money. People bring a lot of money in and everything else, and then they can't stand to live there because, and they can't afford to live there because it's so expensive. The other thing, Ben, is I've had experiences, you did bring up a question, is this gonna have a Leeds zip code or a Torkerville zip code? I dealt with that for 30 years of having a county split by 5 zip codes and not receiving the sales tax that we were responsible, because the one little town of Virginia City is the only zip code we had, and we had 5 other towns. We lost millions, and we had to get a presidential declare to get a zip code to get that. So everybody that's out there, and if it's got a lead zip code, and I bet you 10 to 1 it's going to, because the post office goes with the area where that post office is closest to, and they'll give it that zip code. And now your sales tax are distributed by 90% of people order things, and so it goes per zip code. And so you could lose your zip code, your sales tax, big time because of your zip code. So that's just one concern I have.
Which is why we'd want to annex it, so we can control that, right?
You cannot control the post office.
In the state of Utah, it's by municipality. So if it's incorporated, we would receive the sales tax benefit from that.
You sure about that?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. So yes, and it makes good sense, and you make good sense, and it only makes sense, the infrastructure and everything else out there tied together, and it's within our annex agreement. I just feel we need a lot of information. I apologize. I have 3 grandkids graduating from college through the end of April. And so I would be available for the second week of the meeting in May, but there's no way I'm going to miss my grandkids that are graduating as doctors and everything else.
Congratulations on that. That's
So-
quite an achievement.
So anyway, any more questions or directions? I think personally, I would like to see the staff, these entitlements that you've already got in place in agreements with the different services that you need. I would like to see some of the other things we discussed tonight.
The will serve letters.
Right. I would like to, I don't think we've seen the environmental, and now you're talking about 2, one about just the road going through. You say you have a phase 2 or phase 1?
Phase 1 for the soil
phase-
samples and the geotechnical.
Okay, so that basically goes and says the soils are suitable and everything else.
And what would be great is if we could get a list, so maybe if you
Yeah.
poll everybody kind of on that, then we can deliver a list to us, and we can produce all of it. And
Yeah, so
Okay.
let's just name those things off. So you said you wanted the development agreement that's already been approved by the county. So correct me if I'm wrong, but that's only for the 75 units. It's not for the entirety of the project, right? There's no agreement that's been,
There are 2 that were developed for the county. The first one was passed. So the one that you actually have that's drafted is basically that document with Tocqueville information in it. So that's what was presented to the county.
Oh, okay.
So it's again, we structured it so that, hey, whatever we would get with the county, we would do with Tokerville. And it's drafted that way. There's some little differences because of county municipality difference, but
We
So
can
did
provide
they
a
ca-
red line if you'd like, so you can see what we changed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, if we could get
So-
those emailed
So
to
do
us.
you
we could
really
be
have a
studying it.
development agreement with the county?
yes.
Or
Those 75 units are entitled, ready to go.
just
Okay.
75?
Yeah.
Has the county approved the entire development, all 200 units?
No, because it was limited by the water, and the Water Conservancy District said, hey,
Yeah.
come to Tokerville for water.
So, yeah.
So we're kind of chasing this circular reference a little bit.
You gotta
Trying to
catch-
get the merry-go-round to stop.
You got to catch 22.
Yeah.
I've seen that happen
I
numerous
wonder if that,
You
do
may-
you think that would increase the cost of water here? What does city manager say?
This would be served by the Cotton Well water. This would be wholesale water acquired from the district. That would be the water that would purchase. As to whether or not that would increase the cost of providing water, that's a question I'd have to think about.
Well, they have irrigation water out there?
No.
Better not, because damn it, I don't.
And, another thing to consider is the county's attitude for those who followed the overlay that was recently approved by the county at 15 units per acre. The county currently has the temperament to increase density, to allow density on this side of the county specifically.
Yeah, that's double what we have. So we're in that zone, and they're already saying, hey, they want to double the densities that we have. And so we're saying, we don't need double. We're good where we're at.
Yeah.
So open space and stuff, I didn't really see a bunch of detailed information on open space parks and who's going to be responsible for the maintenance of the parks after they're built. Are they going to be given to the county or HOAs? All those
In the development,
width of roads, parking. I mean, right?
the details in the development agreement, and it does have a provision that says if the city wants that, then we'll trade impact fees back and forth depending on what happens, or the HOA can run that. But the open space requirements are in the development agreement. All that detail is in there.
I saw like 10 to 12%.
Yeah, there's quite a bit on open space, but I highly encourage you to take a really deep look at that because that's going to be a point that matters a lot. I mean, all of the points are, but that is a point that matters a lot. In terms of what they're giving for open space, I can pull exactly what it says. I believe it's 10 to 12% of
That's
the
what I saw.
aggregate gross acreage will be open space. And if you look at the site plan that's included in your packet, you also have it in your
What
slides.
page
don't
is
you?
it on?
Yeah, let me get your page number. He's probably going to be faster than me.
When you're looking at 100 pages, it helps.
Yeah, no kidding.
Excuse me, so that's open space.
Yeah.
This is open space. This entire segment here is open space.
Oh, okay, that's
Down through
nice.
here, and through there.
But how much of that becomes like drainage culverts and kind of non-usable open space?
No, it's all gonna be usable in terms like, we actually can't build there because there's part of the drainage there, but it will be improved with trails. It's all in the development plan. There's a structure, if you can see up here, it will connect to a trail system. So if you can see the little trail system going through there and then actually going to the BLM and create more trail system access.
Yeah, I saw that conceptual.
Well, this space right here,
It's all that open space.
so you've got
Is above
this.
that.
Oh, okay.
That, and then park all the way up there and up through there.
Where's your?
And then
site?
there's, you see over here, there's more,
You look at page 68, it's got a pretty good detail in there. And it shows that trail that he was just talking about.
Those yellows are your storm drain,
say that again?
on-site containment for storm drain?
So that bottom, yeah, that bottom one down here, because we have to go to the lowest part of the property. There's the retention, but it's also doubles as kind of the recreation and work.
Open space.
Yeah. It looks nice.
In
Yeah,
terms
I
of,
think with if you can attend the tour of Long Valley, you'll kind of see what they've done. It's a little
Yeah, I've
different
been
than
out
Long
there.
Valley.
Yeah.
But that's there, and then we'd love to take you out to the site and show you, and you can see kind of the basis for everything that's out there.
In
Correct me
terms
if
of
I'm
who's
wrong,
going to
Ron.
maintain these things long-term, it depends on, like the developer was saying, whether it is ultimately dedicated to the city or if it remains with their
The county.
association or PID, right? So
Okay.
now's a good time to consider if there's any areas that, you think really make sense to dedicate to the city. You could propose that. You might say, we really want that park to be the city's.
Well, unfortunately, and I agree with you, you should, but we don't have that power, the city council does. And they make that decision.
Well,
I have my
They
opinions.
make the decision on that, but it's something to consider, right? Like these
We
are
can
all terms of
recommend
the
or-
development agreement and you can propose terms in your recommendation and city council can take them or leave them. But I mean, you guys can think about those things too. Like,
Yeah.
does this make sense for the city to take that sort of thing?
I definitely have a feeling on parks and stuff.
Part of it's
But
liability though, too.
Typically, something like this, when you have parks, it's basically for that community and that development. And then if it's open to this county or city, then if you go over there, I already been to parks, well, you can't come into our community. And if it's a city park, and that's why I agree that HOA should take care of it and everything else. But then I also agree the open space and everything, it's open to the public. And most people are very protective of their areas.
And I think it's one of the reasons why we've kind of tried to incorporate both, where that trailhead would actually go into the BLM property, so that's actually public lands, and anybody can, so there's that aspect, so there is kind of a public open space that everybody would agree, anybody goes there. There may be stuff that's maybe HOA, or, we didn't put a lot of pools, that kind of stuff. Here's one of the things about the water and related to pools, or these kind of recreational areas inside the open space. We agreed to what the Washington County adopted as the ultra efficient water standard, which means we have to use less water than anybody else in the county. And I think it was a 0.39 is the ultra efficient standard that we have in the development agreement. So we have to use a lot less water. So that means no pools and a lot of those kind of things.
So no big I see wakeboarding. a picture of a pool here though.
Say that again?
There's a photo of a pool on the,
Yeah, so the ultra, well, I guess let me state this correctly. Doesn't mean no pools. What it means is people will get charged more if they have a pool. Their rate for water goes up. They have this kind of penalizing rate. So and again, these are more affordable housing. That might not be the case. They're going to be building pools, and they don't actually have yards to do a lot.
I
of
was
that.
assuming it was a community pool, actually.
It's actually,
Looks like it's-
so UWS actually doesn't allow private pools. So what it does allow is a community pool.
Yeah.
And the size of the pool is regulated based on the total number of units. So for every unit, the pool can be a little bit bigger.
Okay, got it.
And that would probably be more incorporated. The budget for that would probably be in the nightly rentals versus the other stuff. It's more kind of resort-like. The other ones are different, so. Yeah, and I again, I apologize because you haven't been in all of these discussions that we've had with, we've spent years with the Water Conservancy District going through that and being the first to adopt this standard. It was one of the, it was already in the development agreement. So we'll show you the development agreements with the Water Conservancy District and all of those things, so.
The tour of DR Horton's Long Valley product, it's scheduled for the 24th at noon, April 24th. I think it helps to visualize a lot what this community will look like, because the current development status of that, I think they're entitled to roughly 3,000 units in Long Valley. The current build out right now is about 1,500 units, so it's at
About the
point
same
now.
size.
And they have it's a single point of access. So it's a single road into Long Valley right now with one lane in each direction. And so you can really get a feel for what this would actually mean for Mills Lane as a community with a single point of access. So
Okay, you
single,
said there's a tour that day, starting at noon?
yeah, on the 24th at noon.
Where do you meet?
We are meeting at the clubhouse in Long Valley. There was an invitation was sent out.
Yeah.
I may be able to resend it.
Got that?
It should have gone to your Tocqueville email.
I can't
You
make it.
you weren't seeing it for a bit there, but
Huh?
you should have that either.
I should have it now, yeah. I got one of those graduations.
Could that invitation be resent to the planning commission?
And I can get out there, but I do like to set a tour of your land, maybe somewhere in the 1st of May or something.
Yeah, we could do that. You just let us know when you want to do it. We'll be available.
Emily will put that together.
Okay.
So that's it.
Do you have a razor or something you want to bring or?
I got three.
We've done it before.
Yeah.
We like field trips.
See, I only have
Literally
dirt
field
bikes,
trips.
so I'm, solo uno on my dirt bike if I come out there.
I just resent that
Okay.
invitation.
I'll bring mine if I can get it started.
A lot of sand out there.
There was, I took my truck out there and it's, 6-inch lift and 4-wheel drive, so, but it's below sand, so that stuff is
It just
like
sucks
quicksand.
you right under.
Yeah.
Okay, just say.
Now what?
Yeah.
So I just want to, can we just go over real quickly like a high level of the whole process? I mean, I've kind of already made my notes based on my understanding, but I did want to ask you, Attorney Gothard, just to make sure that my assumptions and my research that I've spent the past 2 days doing is correct. So I know we're talking about tabling this, which I agree is probably in our best interest, but so this is pre-annexation. This isn't the annexation
Pre-annexation,
approval.
this
Right.
is not the approval. They have to come back and submit a petition for annexation, which is a whole nother process. This does not skirt that process. It's just, in Utah, you can enter a pre-annexation agreement, which essentially lays forth the rules if the developer was to be annexed. It allows the city and the developer to see whether they can even get on the same page before the developer goes and submits a petition for annexation.
But during the pre-annexation, we are locking in the densities
Yes.
at that time.
Yes.
And so I had
If
questions
they are to
about,
be annexed.
yeah, the legal, aspects of it. So we're effectively setting the framework for what that annexation is going to look like.
If council decide, okay, so to be clear, like there's provisions within the pre-annexation agreement that say like council still has the discretion to decide whether or not to annex the community, right? But you
Right.
should know that if you approve the pre-annexation agreement, which has the development agreement as an exhibit, they receive vested rights, they have entitlements if they are annexed, if they are. So yes, you're 100% right.
So some key questions that I had was, if we approve the agreement with the stated density and development program, what ability does the city realistically have to reduce density or change anything, land use mix or anything during the future zoning process?
You can't.
Right,
You're
that's what I
locked in.
thought.
Yeah,
You're locked
you're
in.
locked in.
Okay.
You're creating a new zone for them basically if they are annexed,
Right.
keyword if, right?
So when land is annexed, it automatically comes through as an MU-20, correct?
Typically, it would be MU-20 here. It's going to be what they're given in the development agreement. But you're
Okay.
right.
So we wouldn't go through the zoning process change of MU-20 to the, what is it, RM2 or whatever, the higher density?
It would still be reflected on the zoning map. So you'd have to have a
Okay.
zoning map amendment
Okay.
that would show essentially that it's its own zone. Because that's what you're doing with this development agreement. You're saying if, keyword if, you're
Right.
annexed, this is going to be a new zone that we've created.
Okay. And then we
And
have to
we'd
bring
have to
that
make-
into the general plan also. So doesn't the general plan have to be modified through this
Yeah.
process as
Yeah,
well?
if the land is annexed, these are bridges we'll have to cross if they're annexed. But
I'm
yeah.
just trying to understand the whole
Yeah, I know.
process for bringing this in because we
think it's
haven't
important.
done this before, just so that we as planning commission have an understanding of, no, this isn't a 1 or 2 month deal, but we're going to be seeing this coming at us for the next 12 months.
Mm-hmm.
And in addition to this pre-annexation recommendation to the city council, how many different zoning changes and general plan changes and all of that are we going to be looking at? And what flexibility, if anything, does the city have? Or once we recommend this pre-annexation, we are locked in?
Well, it's if council approves it ultimately,
Right,
right? You guys make
correct. We
recommendations. Council
recommendations,
approves
correct,
it.
right.
Then you're locked in terms of you've created a new zone for them, which has the terms of the development agreement. So moving forward, if they are annexed, we would need to also amend our zoning map to show what we've done. We've created a new zone, amend the general plan. So yeah, those are all steps that would come. This right here is your chance to say, we want this or not. Here's the terms that we'll take it under, because you are creating a new zone when this agreement
right.
is approved. I think that's really important to know.
It would also, when you change the zoning, it requires an ordinance to be. part of
That's
that.
right. You guys will have to consider an ordinance that will come to you. And, it'll basically just create the zone that you already created through the development agreement. It'll put it on your plan, so it's on the map.
Okay. Let's see where we're at.
We basically, we're
So do we have a motion?
Attorney,
do we even have to have
I
a-
think you need to have the public hearing because if somebody.
Oh, that's right. We still need to have a public hearing.
Okay,
If somebody,
okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, so I will move on to business item D2A, public hearing. Public input is sought on a pre-annexation agreement between Torkerville City and Solara Communities LLC for tax ID 3150-A-1-HB, a 200-acre property currently located in unincorporated Washington County, Utah, proposed for residential and commercial development. Public hearing is now open. Anybody that wants to address us during the public hearing, would they please stand up and tell us their name and where they live, and then they will have 3 minutes or more, 3 minutes to point their views. Going once, going twice. Do we have a motion to close the public hearing?
I'll make a motion.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead, go ahead.
I make a motion to close the public hearing.
Do we have a second? Second? Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, so can we go back on 2, or do we have to go to 3 and go through all that again?
So.
Or can we just go to 4?
Okay, no, so we need to make a motion now to, table.
Oh,
If
that's
you guys
right.
want to table the
That's right.
pre-annexation agreement, we'll do the same thing. Well, you know what?
Once we table?
Yeah, we'll do a motion on each. Let's do a motion on the pre-annexation agreement.
You mean the development?
The pre-annexation agreement.
Yes.
Number 2.
We'll do it on number 2.
Oh, a
Yeah.
motion on it. Okay,
Yeah,
sorry.
so we'll start with.
So we're not
number 2.
doing it, okay, we're doing it separate, okay.
Yeah, trust me, I know it's confusing. It's not just you. Okay, so we'll make a motion on 2. In terms of changes that I'd like to see made, I'd recommend the access provision. I'd like to see a provision added that more thoroughly addresses primary access. I also wrote down a list of the things that you guys had suggested you might want to see in your packet next time beforehand. Please tell me if I missed anything. So I have the development agreement that was approved by the county for the 75 units. I have a red line of the last development agreement for the entire project that was not approved by the county, but it's the last draft. And you guys want to see a red line of that compared to
Yours, ours.
the one that we're looking at for Tokerville to see what was changed.
Yep.
Okay. I have the environmental impact study.
Yeah.
Okay.
Phase 1.
Okay. I have a question about the cost of water, whether the cost of water will rise.
And I don't know if he can even address that. That's more of a city thing.
Well, can we get an answer from the city?
Well, that's,
there's so many things that come into play there
Yeah.
from purchasing water from the district to.
Okay.
as long as he's got approval that they can have an agreement with water, and we're the brokers of the water.
Yeah.
And we set the price.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. And I have the latest agreement of the agreement with Washington County Water Conservancy District. Is
And
there
sewer-
anything else?
Sewer and Hurricane.
Will serve letters.
Will
Yeah,
serve
Will
letters.
serve letters from all the agencies that provide services.
There's also one section for clarity, page 4, section F. It reads, no city fees shall be assessed to the extent permitted by the Impact Fees Act. Should
I
be-
can't hear you.
That line should read, no city impact fees shall be assessed except to the extent permitted by the Impact Fees Act. So just kind of for clarity.
So
Sec-
fix the
page-
typo in 2F.
Yeah, page 4, section F.
And can you provide that you have a pig,
Yes,
proof of a pig?
yeah, we can give the information documents approved by the county.
Okay.
Is there any study that's been done or that's included in any of these studies that have been done that would indicate the susceptibility of this area to wildland fires?
Nothing we did individually, the Hurricane Valley Fire District.
Is there an existing fire risk assessment map of the county of any kind that would include this area?
Yeah, exactly.
Can you see what it's currently classified as?
Yeah, I haven't looked at that, but we can.
I think that might be something that
Yeah.
we're looking at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything else you guys can think of? I mean, you might receive these things
think
and have
that pretty
additional
much
questions at the next meeting. That could happen,
covers
but I think this will give you quite a bit more information and hopefully answer some of your concerns.
One quick question I have, sorry, not on the microphone or anything, but would it be beneficial if we do this tour to have city council members there as well, if they want to come, so we're, trying to arrange this 2 or 3 times over.
That's fine with
I
us.
think it would be.
I don't know if the city council wants to come, but I would encourage them.
You know,
I wouldn't open it to the public.
You don't have enough raises for that, but.
Okay, with all those stipulations, does somebody want to make a motion?
Sounds complicated.
Did you want to do,
Make a
sorry,
motion.
okay, did you want to do a tour of the actual land
That's what
prior?
we're talking about.
Okay, not talking about Long Valley, I'm talking about the actual,
That's why you send razors and
okay,
sand.
got it, okay.
Would it be helpful to tentatively plan that? I mean, we could do it the morning of that Long Valley tour while we already have time carved out. I don't know if that would be.
You guys, I won't be able to make it, but I can go later with Darren and take him out because I don't have problems going out by myself.
That'd be fine.
But if you want to do it at that same time, then
I do have a problem going out myself. I need to hop.
Come on,
ride with
Angela, you and I are
somebody.
gonna go hiking.
they'll make arrangements for rides.
There is actually an asphalt road
Yeah, I
Oh.
saw
on the
that.
south front, so you go through a gate, asphalt road that goes all the way up,
Oh,
so you
that's
can
good.
access.
Well, we could just drive up there then, a regular car. Okay.
It's kind of a dirt road, but.
Yeah, it's like, I
asphalt.
don't know how many of you were friends with the Mills when they lived there. There's that
I
road.
was.
So, yeah.
I
it's-
remember going out there.
And so one thing is, we were friends with the Mills. They actually had a Tokerville address, just so you know.
Yeah, they did. They had a Tokerville
That's right.
address. Yeah.
And they had a collector
And
box
it's
out there.
gorgeous out there.
It is very pretty.
So he's asking, did you want to do it in the morning of that? Or,
It's probably, oh, oops, did I, what? Is that your phone?
Yeah.
How did that happen?
I
I don't think it's still.
you shouldn't let them.
I would just suggest doing it in the morning because it gets warm.
Yeah, that's true.
Friday, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so tentatively have Emily set that up. I'll apologize because I will be, but I will make up it and get out there.
And the gate is not locked, it's open, it's closed, but it's, you can use it.
If Darren knows how to get there, I'll get there.
It's got a lock.
Okay,
So morning of the 24th is what we're talking about?
What time are we thinking?
10 o'clock, give you enough time to get the other one?
It's about a half
Honestly,
hour
I think it's
drive.
more important to do the land here than the one in Long Valley, but I mean, like you said.
Long,
for-
Long Valley also applies to the Indigo development that's
Oh,
they've
okay.
broken ground for. So I think both are relevant.
Yeah,
And,
yeah, I agree. I'm just saying.
If the commission can take that amount of time on a Friday, I think doing both, say 9:30 or 10 would probably be about right on the 24th.
Okay.
Then you need to be down to Long Valley by noon.
Right. That's
So-
what, about a half an hour
So
drive?
it's- Yeah. So taking
Okay.
account for that.
Again, if we did a tour here, could we do
Well,
it
if it's
earlier
paid
on
to
that
get
morning?
out there, it shouldn't take that
I would be
long.
game to do it earlier, but
I mean, I'm good to like 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock,
5:30 be good too.
You could camp out Thursday. So we're rocking, you can stay overnight if you want.
Because
I
I
vote
work down in
9:30.
St. George right now, so, I'm usually rolling out of here by 6:30 on my way down there, so.
No, we're not doing it at 6:30 in the morning.
But if we're just gonna drive up on the paved and then dirt area, we're not gonna get out and walk around really,
We
or
will.
what all would it involve?
Do whatever you want there. Because you can see.
What I'm saying is it's probably not gonna take that long to do
Yeah.
it.
It doesn't, I mean, it's,
Just to get together and to go over there, you're gonna be an hour and a half.
You
At
will
least.
be, you could be 2 hours
Yeah,
easily.
easy.
With transport.
Well, if we bet at 11:30, that would be good, wouldn't it? I mean, not 11:30, 9:30. 9:30, we'd end at 11:30.
Yes.
Sorry, you guys, it's getting late.
Yeah, 9:30.
We're still not done.
Okay,
I have a hard out at.
I accidentally stole his phone even, okay,
Yeah.
so we're,
I need to leave at 8:15, so I'm hoping we
yeah,
can wrap
okay.
up whatever.
Okay.
We still have,
We still have a lot to go through yet.
Okay, so tentatively 9:30. So do we have a motion?
can we say it how we want? The motion, if we include all this?
Yeah.
Okay, I'd like
You
to
can always
make
say
a
the
motion.
motion how you
Okay,
want.
I'd like to make a motion that we table this for tonight because we need more information, including access provision, the development agreement for 75 units, last unapproved red line agreement, environmental impact study, cost of water, possibly discuss that, latest agreement with Washington County Water Conservancy District, and a correction or a clarification on page 4, section F, and a tour of the land.
And hurricane fire, all the
The
will serve.
will serve letters and the PID formation.
The what letters?
The will serve letters,
The will serve letters and
the PID formation documents.
paid formation documents.
PID.
Sorry, I missed that.
PID.
Oh, PID formation, PID, PID,
PID.
PID.
What?
one suggestion, and then it be put on the agenda, once that, for whatever that date is in May.
For the next first,
May 13th is the date. Yeah, this definitely would have to happen before May 13th, which is our next
And then
planning commission meeting.
table it, and then put it on the agenda for.
Yes.
Yes. And that we add it to the agenda for May 13th.
I second that. Okay.
any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Excellent. Next.
Okay, I'm gonna blow through this again. You want,
So on 3, let's do a motion to table that as well.
what's that?
Can we just
Yes.
ditto motion?
We did a motion on the
Number-
pre-annexation agreement. I know it's confusing because we had to do 2 separate items, but let's just do a motion to table the development agreement.
Yes.
Just say for the reasons described for item 2.
Okay,
Yeah.
so she amended that.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion that we table 3, the development agreement, as per everything that we just listed. Is it okay to say it like that?
In item 2.
In item 2.
Okay,
Yeah.
It's a duplicate.
Yeah,
okay,
table.
then do we even need to discuss 3 or table that?
Well, we're just saying. just
Yeah, if you
table.
guys don't want to discuss, I mean, it was one and the same with 2, so
Yeah, we already pretty
It's
much
fine.
discussed it.
Okay, discussion.
we need to do a second and.
Yeah,
then
we need
vote
a
on that.
second.
Oh,
It's okay.
did we get a second?
I second it.
Second.
Okay,
Further discussion?
No.
no.
The vote?
Aye.
Aye.
Sorry about that. Hey, you guys,
Some caffeine or
I've been the
something.
sickest I've ever been. I just got out of bed about 4 days ago.
Oh,
You wouldn't believe
you had surgery last meeting and now you're
I
sick
had
for this
surgery on March
meeting? Oh, my
2nd. I
gosh.
blew apart 10 days later. I got flu, pneumonia, and then I got COVID. I just got out of bed 3 days ago.
Oh my
Jeez, that's
gosh.
miserable.
I'm
Okay.
glad you're still kicking.
Yeah.
The
glad to hear
sickest I've
tonight.
ever been.
Terrible.
I'm alive, I'm thankful. Okay, so where are we at?
We're on item 4 now.
Okay,
Yep.
discussion of
This-
possible recommendation of ordinance 2026 XX, an ordinance amending Title 10, Chapter 17, Section 4, subsection 8 of the Torkerville Code to exempt residential culinary fees covered by the solar project agreement in Nightly Meadows. We really just need to table that because that's part of this.
Yeah, this is all.
It's not, if you approve this ordinance, it's not specific to Solar alone. We can talk about this more next time, but Solar is the project that brought this up. So you might want to table this until you receive additional information and decide
Yeah.
whether you want to do this for
Yeah.
all developments that are like Solar that come along.
Okay, do we have a motion to table this?
Yeah, I move that we table that this item for pending further information.
I second it.
All in favor?
I,
Aye.
Do I have to open the public hearing? We tabled it. No public hearing.
Yeah.
And I'm really disturbed and pissed off there's no public here on something this big.
well,
This
I don't think
big-
anybody knew about it.
Well, it was public notice, and it was put on there. I've seen it in three or four different public
Did
notices.
I apologize. It looks like we skipped it. I know we're trying to move along, but it looks like we skipped the public hearing on the development agreement. And I think we need a public hearing on this. So let's go back to the development agreement. Let's make a motion to open the public hearing, close it.
Which one's that?
So that's item
On
3.
number 3, the public hearing.
Oh. Okay, public hearing and public input is sought on a development agreement between Torkerville City, Solar Communities LLC, and RE Developers LLC for Solaris project. I don't even know who they are. And a proposed 200-acre development, including up to 1,500 residents, single-family homes, townhouses, multifamily units in commercial space located on tax ID 3151-A-1-HV. Public hearing is now open. Anybody who wants to speak, please get up to identify themselves. Let us know what their address is. You got 3 minutes. Do I have a motion to close public hearing?
I make a motion.
We got
You and I are on the
We got a double motion, and then we got a second.
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Public hearing closed.
Do we have to do that for the public hearing for 4 as well?
Can we
Okay.
get the- Make a motion to table that?
So before we make
We
a
already-
motion to, did we already make our motion to
Yeah.
table
We already
that?
tabled it, but
We just need to
Oh.
we have to open it, gotta
Okay.
close it. So let's just do that.
Okay, item number 4A, public hearing. Public input is sought on ordinance 2026-XX, a ordinance amending Title 10, Chapter 17, Section 4, subsection 8 for the Torkerville Code to exempt residential culinary connection fees covered by the Sonori Project Development Agreement from nightly rental license cap. Anybody who wants to make public comment, please stand up and identify themselves and give us their address. They have 3 minutes to make public comment. Does anybody want to make a motion to close public comment? Hearing.
I make a motion to close the public hearing.
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, discussion 6, discussion and possible recommendation of.
Actually, 5.
Oh,
5.
Did I miss one? Sorry, I did.
Sorry, Dean.
Discussion and possible recommendation. This we're going to actually do.
Yeah, we can.
Recommend the ordinance 2026-XX, an ordinance amendment, the official zoning map of Torkerville City to reflect previous approved rezoning.
So I'll just explain what this is really quick. So there's different requirements for everything you pass, everything you do. And there was a technical blip where we did not have an ordinance drafted, even though we amended our zoning map for these 3 zone changes. So this is a bit of cleanup, if you will, just essentially codifying it in an ordinance as is required by state statute.
Okay.
Everybody understands which ones those were, correct?
Except for the third one. I looked at the
The-
2 on the map.
The third one from the MU-20 to.
I couldn't
or
find
the-
that, yeah.
I'm sorry, yeah, that one is the Silver Cliffs over by the Devil's Hall,
Oh, okay.
when you did that zone change.
Yeah.
I don't know
So-
if you were here that night. You might not have been.
Might not have been. I was able to find the other ones on the plat map, but that was the one that you put in the search and it wouldn't pop up anything unless it popped up and just didn't bring it over. But my only question on this, are any of these properties in litigation or any
No.
issues with any of these?
No.
I didn't think so, but I just wanted to
No.
make sure that there wasn't any
Yeah,
issues.
so essentially they're the IME which is the out there, the Anderson Junction area.
Right.
Then there's the Ray Bents.
Yep.
And then
Yep.
there's the Silver Cliffs.
Yep, okay.
Okay,
Okay.
we need to open the public notice, I guess, to that.
You do have to open a public hearing
Yeah.
on
When you
those.
say rebents, you mean the parcel that we had to rezone,
Yeah, the one when.
not the one that's in litigation?
No,
No,
because
no,
this is
no,
the
no,
one
no, no.
for.
This is for-
I just wanted to clarify that on the
Yeah.
record, just so it's not confusing.
No, I checked those parcel numbers to make sure, yeah.
Correct.
Okay, did I open the public hearing?
No.
Okay.
Do you want some
Five
help on this or?
A,
okay?
public hearing. Public input is sought on ordinance 2026 XX, an ordinance amending the official zoning map of Torkerville City to reflect the previous approved zoning. Anybody that wants to make public comment, please stand up. You can identify yourself. You got 3 minutes. Anybody want to close the public hearing?
I move we close the public hearing.
Second it.
Got a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, do we have a motion on item 5? On this ordinances, creating these ordinances for these zonings that have been already pre-approved.
Let's see, I move to recommend approval of ordinance 2026.XX, amending the official zoning map of Tocqueville City to reflect previously approved rezonings.
We have a
Second it.
second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Number 6, discussion and possible recommendation of ordinance 2026 XX, an ordinance amending a restating Title 10, Chapter 19D, Section 16 of the Torkerville Code to update improvements, completion assurances requirements to clarify installation warranty obligations.
So Chairman, this is, basically what this is as we've been doing the bonding with different projects and things like that, we realized that our ordinance was out of compliance with what state code is. So we began that. And so there was some other minor cleanup items that the attorney as well as Emily had caught to help us to get those completion assurance bonds and have them correct and being able to make sure that the warranty, so the warranty part of that bond is the amount above the 100%. So we keep that amount for 1 year is what the warranty is. And it just helped to clarify. I don't know if attorney has some additional.
Yeah, so
comments.
like Darren said, this helps to bring us into conformance with state statute, which has been updated. I did notice that this isn't the most recent red line. I made additional changes. I know we need to change the percentages as soon as possible. So what I would probably suggest is either tabling this or so that I can provide the additional red lines because the state has expanded what can be bonded for, and that's important that we don't limit ourselves in terms of what can be bonded for to protect the city. So I would suggest either tabling that so I can provide the additional changes or just adopting the percentage changes. Up to you guys.
Could you have that,
Just table it.
could you have it ready by next meeting?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's ready. It just looks like,
It possibly didn't get. up to
yeah,
loaded.
we'll go through a couple different versions, so I can just say this isn't the latest. So we just need to add it next time.
So it's easiest just to table it for now.
Yeah.
So let me go to A, public hearing. Public input is sought on ordinance 2026 XX, an ordinance amending and restating Title 10, Chapter 19D, Section 16 of the Torkerville City Code to update improvements and completeness, assurances, requirements, and clarifications installing the warranty obligations. Any public hearing, would you please stand up now and identify yourself? Anybody have a motion to close?
I'd like to
public-
make a motion to close public hearing.
Got a second?
Second.
There's all kinds of seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Do we have a motion?
I move that we table this agenda item until next month, until we can get out all of the changes updated.
I second it.
Got a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, E, Planning Commissioner Chair. I don't have anything to report. Planning Commissioners, you got anything that you want to report? Assistant City Manager, Darren, you got 1 minute.
If you guys are,
Big seconds, Darren.
you know what? You guys don't like my reports very well, so I won't go on.
I actually like the
We
reports.
love your reports.
I'm kidding, really quickly. I will just jump
Can we
through them
table it to
very
next month?
fast. We got Commissioner Levitt needs to get out of here. Just want to let you know, the IME that's out there, they are projected to try to get open by the first to second week in June. Sapp Brothers grand opening is this Friday and Saturday. If you want to support them, Anderson Junction, the water line that we did for those residents out there, it is complete. They have water.
Wow.
So it went really quickly once we actually got to put some pipe in the ground. Took less than 2 weeks. It was really great job. A lot of help from the attorneys as well as the water district, and Steve Gilbert has donated a lot of efforts there. So just to recognize those people that made it happen. It's really great. So Boulder Ridge, they're trying to finish up their construction. They've still got some things that they need to finish up. They're moving forward though. We would hope that we can get somewhere with them within the next month. The groundbreaking for Indigo at Firelight was on Tuesday, April 2nd. They actually did their groundbreaking for that Indigo area that you guys had approved for the preliminary plat.
Oh, that's
So
cool.
they're moving forward on that. Then, as you know, there's a lot of items that are coming, will be here in front of you for approvals. So I don't know if anybody has any questions on a specific thing that I didn't cover.
No, thank you.
How's the
Thank you.
Maverick coming along?
Thank you.
Maverick's waiting for Boulder Ridge to be approved
Okay.
or built, completed. They still have a number of items to finish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, staff, for helping us and all the work you do to prepare us on this. And let me know, and maybe I'm speaking out. I do, of course, I don't sleep at night, so Emily always prints me out and you see me coming in with this, so I sit there and read at night. I'm not much of a computer person. And so if you want it, ask her, and she'll print it out for you.
Okay. Yeah.
If not, a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I move that we adjourn.
Second?
Second.
Good night.
Did we get a vote on that?
Aye.
There you go.
Aye.
Anybody that doesn't want to say that.